What up, everybody? Godfather of Harlem, Season 3, Episode 2. They say a lion doesn't know it's been in a cage until it's let out. Bumpy's quote at the end of Episode 2. Loving that quote. I tried Googling it, making sure I'm saying it right, but I couldn't even find it on Google. But I love the quote nonetheless. But anyway, let's get into the video. The whole storyline of this episode is based around the very first scene of the episode, in which Joe Colombo does what they call a gentleman's kidnapping of Mamie. He basically picks her up at the market, convinces her without having to lay a hand on her to get in the car and take a ride with him. And during this kidnapping, I guess is what you want to call it, this trip, giving her a ride home is what he really did. He gave her a ride home. And he convinces Mamie that Bumpy should actually partner with Joe Colombo, because that's the thing he was seeking last episode. He wants his stake in Harlem. You've heard him say it's a gold mine. So he convinces Mamie by using the fact that he has police and judges in his pocket, and that he can keep Bumpy out of jail. He also told her that last year alone he made $12 million off his car part business. So Mamie wants to talk to Bumpy about this, but when Bumpy finds out, he is enraged. He's furious. He breaks the glass and everything, and he says that Joe Colombo is a dead man. Mamie tries to calm him down, but Bumpy storms out of their home, and we see Bumpy turning to Tommy, who is now the leader, the ambassador, whatever you want to call it, of the five families. Oh, that's because Frank Costello won't be returning. The actor, R.I.P. to Paul Sorvino. Love that actor in every role that I ever seen him play in. Even loved his character on The Godfather of Harlem. I will miss him and Bumpy's conversation in their chess matches. Definitely something I loved from the first two seasons. I guess they haven't even brought him up yet, so I guess they're just making it look like he moved away, retired, after Joey Bonanno put the hit out on him. So anyway, Tommy is furious when Bumpy tells him about what Joe Colombo did to Mamie, but he still won't allow Bumpy to kill Joe Colombo because he is a boss. He says that will start a war and he can't allow that. But what he does do is he arranges a meeting with the five families to supposedly work something out with Joe Colombo and Bumpy Johnson and reprimand Joe Colombo for what he did with Mamie. But keep in mind, Tommy is a hypocrite. He acted like he was so mad and that the Italian mafia doesn't touch women and children, and Joe Colombo violated the rules so bad. But keep in mind, just last episode, he arranged a hit on Stella Gigante, the daughter of Chin Gigante, with Stella's stepmother, Olympia. And Stella is a woman and a child, because I don't even know how old she is. I would range her anywhere on this show between 16 to 20, so basically still a child and a female. So both is a big time violation when it comes to the code or the rules of that the Italian mafia were built upon. As for Stella, she has now ran to go stay with Teddy's mother, wherever she's staying. I think it might be Tennessee, but I can't honestly remember where she went to. Ohio, or I think it might be Ohio. But anyway, she's staying now with Teddy's mother, who got that big bankroll from Ernie when she left. And we have Chin's lawyer meeting up with Joe Colombo to tell Joe Colombo if he wants Chin backing him with the five families, that he needs to find Stella. And Chid now knows that one of the 5 families has put a hit out on Stella. He wants Joe Colombo to track her down and protect her in order to get his favor with the 5 families from the prison. So Joe Colombo tracks down Stella and he brings her back to New York with his protection. We see Joe Colombo and Stella having lunch together, and Joe Colombo trying to connect with Stella by talking about his father, who was a drunk and tried to frame him for a crime that he committed. And he says he needs both Chid and Stella to trust him. And it seemed by the end of their conversation, Stella has began to trust Joe Colombo a little bit. Keep in mind also that Stella has not yet told Joe Colombo that her stepmother was involved on the hit. And when Joe Colombo finds out that Tommy was involved, I believe there will be a big time war with the Italian mafia, and things will get crazy. There could be a big time falling out amongst the 5 families. And also keep in mind, prior to this, when Tommy called in Joe Colombo to rebuke him for the incident with Mamie, for kidnapping Mimi or giving her a ride home, whatever you want to call it, a cross between giving her a ride home and kidnapping her. He insults Joe's dead father and says that his father could not follow the rules. And it seemed that Tommy had also called the shot for the hit out that was the hit that killed Joe's father. And he said to Joe Colombo, he said, it seems like the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And Joe Colombo warned Tommy as he's leaving that he is nothing like his father, because we know he probably despises his father because he was a drunk and he might have beat him. I can't remember if he said he beat him, but he definitely said he set him up for a crime that he committed, that his father committed, and tried having him arrested for it. As for Bumpy, while all this is going on, he is preparing for war with the Italians because he's not going to accept any terms they have to offer him, and he wants blood with Joe Colombo at this point. So he wants to send Mamie, Elise, and Margaret all to South Carolina for protection. And he seeks an alliance with Jose Battle, the leader of the Spanish Mafia who controls Spanish Harlem. Jose Battle is currently kicking back a percentage of all his profits to the Italians in order to have peace. And he says he does not mind doing that. He says just a price he has to pay in order to have peace. So he rejects Bumpy's proposal to become partners. But Joe Colombo must have men trailing Bumpy or something. He must have eyes and ears everywhere, because he finds out that Bumpy had a meeting with Jose Battle. So he sets up his own meeting with Jose Battle to fish for information. And at the end of their meeting, he invites Battle to a sit down with the 5 family and Bumpy. I guess he wants to bring Battle there in case they want to have repercussions for what he did to Mamie, so he can use that Bumpy turn to Battle in an attempt to cut the 5 families out of their cut. But while this meeting happened, it seemed that Joe Colombo might have rubbed Battle the wrong way, because he went back to the seashell lady, the lady who does his religion, Santeria, and he went to ask for more advice. Then we have the meeting with the 5 families, Bumpy and the 5 families, and Jose Battle is there, and Joe Colombo proposes that Bumpy kicks back 25% of all his profits to the Italians, and that he throws another 10% back to Jose Battle. But Bumpy rejects the offer, and he gives him the quote that I started out this video with. that they say a lion doesn't know it's been in a cage until it's let out. I've had a taste of freedom with that last shipment when I was made an equal partner with y'all, and I'm not going back. So he stood up to the Italians. He rejects their offer. He walks out. He's prepared for war. And as he's standing there preparing to leave, who comes out but Jose Battle? Shakes Bumpy's hand, accepts his partnership, and now they have an alliance that is too strong, and the Italians don't want that kind of beef. They don't want that kind of problem, so they're gonna have to leave Bumpy and Jose Battle alone. I guess he accepted it based upon, I guess, kind of mixed based upon how Bumpy stood up to the Italians, his speech, and also how Joe Colombo rubbed him the wrong way. Then on top of that, he heard how Joe Colombo violated by picking up Bumpy Johnson's wife. So if you'd rather just be a partner with Bumpy Johnson at this point. As for Malcolm, who seems to not be getting as much screen time this season, it might be because of the new actor. Not sure what that's all about, but we're not seeing Malcolm so much as of yet, but we do know he's currently being protected by 12 of Bumpy's top men, and that Malcolm is prepared to head to meet with the leaders of Africa, and his wife is not going to be able to go, so he wants to take Elise with him. When telling Bumpy about this, Bumpy rejects it, does not want her to go because he wants Elise to go to South Carolina with Margaret, because Mamie refuses to go because of her position with Reverend Powell. So she is not going to South Carolina. So at this point, Margaret and Elise were going to go. So she wasn't going to go to Africa with Malcolm. But at dinner, Margaret convinces the family that Elise should go take the opportunity to go to Africa with Malcolm, and that she can go to South Carolina. She's a big girl. She can go to South Carolina and take the bus herself and stay there with her grandma or her aunt, whoever it is who lives in South Carolina, and she can make up her own bed and whatever else she needs to do. But the thing is, Margaret won't have to go to South Carolina now because of Bumpy's new alliance with Jose Battle. So there will not be a war. Everything's gonna be good. Elise can go to Africa. Mamie gonna be cool. And Margaret can stay where she is at with her mom and Bumpy. So there you have it. Godfather of Harlem, Season 3, Episode 2. The lion out of the cage. He ain't going back in that cage. He knows he's free now. Leave your thoughts in the comments.